Welcome back. Thanks so much for joining us again. I hope you are getting as excited about these desserts as I am. I just pulled our pecan crust out of the oven. Remember, this was just crushed pecans, some honey, and a little bit of melted butter. Mix it all together and just bake them off until they start to get firm. They don't need to be cooked all the way through because they'll continue to cook with our cheesecake batter inside as well. But those are ready, so now I'm just going to fill these tart shells. I love having an individual dessert. I think that's also really fun at Thanksgiving when most things are served family style. For people to have their own special dessert is great. You could do, if you have a family initial that you might want to put in the top with the blackberry coulis, you could do that. Or you could do a star or some other design. I think they're really fun to do something special with these individual tarts as well. So these are ready. You can fill them pretty much up to the top. They're not going to rise too much. And they are going to go back in our 350-degree oven. They're really only going to take about 25 minutes because they are so small and individual. But just make sure you watch them. You don't want your cheesecake to brown too much or get too overly set because then they tend to dry out. So just watch them. When they start to crack on the top and get a little bit of a brown, I think you're ready to go. So those will do great in there. Now, while we were also on our break, I pulled our bread pudding out of the oven. It smells amazing. It's going to cool down for a few minutes while we make the blackberry sauce to go on top of our cheesecakes. Now again, we talked about these blackberries. They are frozen. We don't have a lot of fresh fruit here in Virginia at the end of November. Unfortunately, we've got tons of apples, but that's really it. So I thought it would be fun to bring back some summer with our blackberries. These are great. We have some pick your own blackberry farms here that are so fun. If you have kids and are trying to eat local, there are so many great ways to get your children involved. Go pick your own blackberries. You can pick your own apples. They're always pick your own pumpkin farms in October. So we've got tons of great options to get your kids involved as well. Once the blackberries are in here, this is a really, really simple sauce. The blackberries are here. You can hear them start to give off some of their sizzle from the moisture that was frozen in there. And we really are just going to let these warm up and add a little bit of honey. The blackberries this season were so sweet that you don't need a whole lot, but the honey will help them give off some of their juice and really form a delicious sauce. So we'll just pour in a drizzle of that. Again, to taste, if you love things really sweet, the cheesecakes themselves aren't super sweet, so this is a neat way to get some more sweetness in there. Or if you like that tart flavor, I know at least in our area we don't have fresh cranberries that grow locally, and for a lot of people that's a Thanksgiving staple. So if you're looking for that tart red flavor, using some of these blackberries without quite so much honey helps give you that same mouth flavor without having to find cranberries growing here in the mountains. But if you live in an area where cranberries are local, this would be a great sauce to make with cranberries as well. Would look delicious on those cheesecakes. I'm going to let these cook down a little bit while we make the sauce for our pumpkin bread pudding. I don't know about you all, but I love whipped cream on cakes, on pies, on sweets, on just by itself, frozen out of the freezer with a spoon. Amazing. Here's a quick tip for making whipped cream at home. You want everything to be as cold as possible. That means the bowl, the beater, and the cream itself. So I've actually put the bowl and the beater in the freezer. I'm going to go grab that before we get started. Now when you're making whipped cream, of course, it makes the most sense to use heavy cream. If you try and use light whipping cream or half and half, there's just no way to make it actually stiffen up like whipped cream should. So these are frozen, and let me assure you, you can kind of see on there how cold they are. This is going to help our whipped cream come together so quickly and taste so delicious. Here's our local cream. I don't know if you all have found a local dairy near you, but there's something just amazing about drinking milk out of glass bottles. So if you can find the local dairy that does the glass bottles, it is a wonderful way. They're also recyclable. Most require a bottle deposit, but you get it back the next time you do it, and you know that you're helping the earth with those glass bottles instead of all the plastic as well. But I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. Now, this is not just any whipped cream. Oop, it's got to go fast. Whipped cream like I do, this is a great way to make it now. It'll last in the fridge for a couple of days, so you can make a big batch, sweeten it up with some honey, some cinnamon, and you're set to go. It is amazing. Let me go check on it and make sure. so we can hear again. That is almost set up, and our blackberries are doing beautifully. They are melting down and forming just a delicious sauce. I'm going to bring this over in a second so you can see it, and the smell is incredible. Now, if you want to just leave it plain blackberries, that's totally fine, but since it is Thanksgiving, I think adding a tiny bit of nutmeg just adds a little bit of je ne sais quoi, as they say in French, just to help add some that flavor that tastes like Thanksgiving as well. If you're doing cranberries, nutmeg tastes great in cranberries as well. And I know I've talked about this before, but if there's any way you can find whole nutmegs and grate them with a microplane, the smell is out of this world. And the taste is also really, really fantastic. You can let this cook down for a while. It'll get really thick and syrupy and taste delicious on those cheesecakes when they come out of the oven. I'm going to serve out some of this pumpkin bread pudding so you can see what it looks like. Oh, it smells absolutely incredible. And it gets creamy inside and it gets a really crunchy top. Oh, just delicious. Let me take a little spoon of the whipped cream out of here as well. Top that on top. Oh, you know what I forgot from the whipped cream? I forgot the cinnamon and the honey. Right now it would be delicious on its own, but if you really want to kind of kick it up, adding some cinnamon to this whipped cream is amazing. And again, if you like your whipped cream really sweet, you can add as much honey as you like. I kind of like it non-sweet so that the sweetness of the pumpkin bread really shines through, but it tastes delicious just the way we have it. Let me sample. If you like pumpkin as much as I do, this bread pudding is going to be a wonderful treat for your Thanksgiving table. It's absolutely amazing. I'm going to check one more time on our blackberries. Let me just show you this color. This is gorgeous. You see how they're beginning to cook down? Oh, and put off all of this juice. It's absolutely delicious. This also works great as an ice cream topper. If you have some vanilla ice cream that you can just spoon some of this blackberry syrup on, it makes amazing ice cream sodas if you want to do that. Absolutely delicious. This will last probably 4 or 5 days in your fridge, so you have plenty of time to make all sorts of delicious things with it. Cheesecakes are baking. Our pumpkin bread pudding is ready and amazing. I can't wait for Thanksgiving. My sister is coming home with her tiny precious dog, and we are so excited to have him in our house as well. I hope you are so thrilled about Thanksgiving at your home. If you have any ideas for other recipes you're planning on trying, if there's a local ingredient you have in your area that you'd love to see me try and do a recipe with, please let me know. Leave me a note here on my blog. I'd love to try whatever would be helpful for you. Thanks so much and happy Thanksgiving.